Next up, we have Ashley McCray. She was, I think, just elected the Oklahoma Democrat Party Affirmative Action Officer. She's an environmental activist and just a good person. I got to meet her whenever she was on the campaign trail just a few years ago. So it's good to have you here. If you'll come on up.
My name is Ashley Nicole McCray. I am an enrolled member of the absentee Shawnee tribe of Oklahoma. I'm also Oglala and Chichangu Lakota. I actually have a lot of ties with Cherokee County. I've had the good fortune of having my path cross and intertwine with this county. In 2016, I actually met Kaylin Free and went to one of her candidate trainings. I wasn't quite ready at that moment, but it did do me a lot of good, and I think that I learned a whole lot in that process. The next year, I actually went with Deb and the Cherokee County Women's Federation to the Women's March in Washington, D.C., where we protested Trump's inauguration. So that was a really awesome experience. A really great bonding experience. I still wasn't ready to delve into politics at that moment, but my time was definitely coming. 2018, I did run for the Oklahoma Corporation Commission and did end up becoming the Democratic nominee for that position. And just a year ago today, I was actually awarded the Kicking Donkey Award by the Cherokee County Women's Federation. So I love this county. I live in CD4 all the way down in Norman, but I love coming up to Green Country. It's so beautiful up here. It's really great to have a change of scenery, a change of landscape, and honestly a change of tempo from the urban areas. So as Matt did mention, I do consider myself an environmental advocate first and foremost. I am a community organizer. I have started and initiated a lot of campaigns around environmental justice here in the state of Oklahoma. In 2017, we had a resistance camp in southeast Oklahoma. We were fighting the Diamond Pipeline, and we actually lived there for about 5 months, deep in Choctaw country. So it was great to meet a lot of very rural Oklahomans, a lot of Trump supporters who we actually were able to ally with our cause, and really taught us a whole lot about what it means to be with the land, to care about these issues, and to really bridge these connections with people. Someone like myself probably never would have otherwise done that. So it was really good practice for a political campaign. Oklahoma is the front line for so many fights, whether it be the front line of climate change, whether it be the front line for losing our seats to these legislatures. Oklahoma is really where these battles are taking place. I say that all the time when I speak on a national platform about the environment, that the nation is becoming Oklahomanized, and that's really a scary thing. We have so many Superfund sites in the state. I know in Northeast Oklahoma, we're concerned about our water up here because of the chicken house pollution, because of the expansion of industrialized farming. We know that our water is not safe to drink. Well, we know all throughout the state, we're dealing with issues just like this. And I think that this really kind of gets to the crux of why Democrats are losing so many seats. I don't fashion myself a political expert by any means, but I do fashion myself a community expert. I am on the ground, I am on the front lines, I am with the warriors, I am with the communities, and I know what they are saying. And it is because they do not feel like their voices are being heard. The Democrats, the Republicans, people are so far away from what's actually happening on the ground. And here in Oklahoma, we are primed to take back all of these seats. We are primed to change that flow because, as many people have already mentioned, Governor Stitt has pissed off all of our tribes here in the state of Oklahoma. We need to find Native candidates right now to get prepared for 2020. We need someone like Kaylin Free to represent us on the national stage. We need people who will fight and advocate for our sovereign nations because we are powerful. The only thing is we have not felt inspired to this point to participate. And that is our job, to make sure that the people on the ground know that we care about them, that we are not just some far away entity that makes decisions without consulting the people on the ground. We need to get to these communities and we need to do what the Democratic Socialists are doing, such as Green Country Democratic Socialists, and offer community aid, offer mutual support, Go into these communities that are being impacted by environmental injustice and help clean up these river sites. Help make sure that these communities are better and more livable for the people who are there right now. That's how we get these people to gain their trust back, and make sure that they will actually support us the next go around. A lot of these issues are really interconnected. We're losing the rural districts, we're losing the Native vote, we're not even trying for the Native vote actually, and we're losing the poor vote. These people are all disenfranchised voters. I consider myself a disenfranchised voter, but once the fascist in chief came into office, I realized that it is time for us to stand up. If we do not make our voices heard today, if we do not act now, then we are very much complicit. We are complicit in these children being locked up in cages. We are complicit in these mass murders by white nationalists, such as what happened today in El Paso. We are complicit in all of these violences that we as Democrats say that we stand against, and that is not acceptable. This is why we are losing trust. We need to stand up, and we need to make big, bold decisions, and we need to stand on the right side of history. We are in a very, very huge epoch of history. We have a decision on our shoulders right now, whether we let this nation slide into all-out fascism that targets indigenous people, our indigenous relatives from south of the so-called border, locking up our children in cages, stealing our babies from the clutches of our hands, ignoring our tribal sovereignty, stealing our sacred lands and our sacred sites. If we're gonna let this continue to happen, we are complicit in genocide. And I don't know if any Democrat would be willing to hold that torch. So I'm charging everybody here today to recognize that if we do not act, if one of my favorite words is praxis. Yes, we can talk a good game. We can go out and convince people why we are the better choice. But if we're not putting our words into action, then we are being complicit. We need praxis in the Democratic Party. We need to remember that our roots are just as red as the dirt that we stand on. We are no better than our brothers and sisters in Bridge Creek who have Trump flags in their warehouses but are being fracked to death by big oil. We are no different from these people. We have the opportunity to go and get those votes, to convince those people to be on our side. But if we let that opportunity slide, then we are no better than fascists. We are no better than these people who are locking up indigenous babies in cages, stealing indigenous people from our clutches, stealing our land right from beneath our feet. Complicity, complicity. So really today, I think that, and I'm hopefully not upsetting Jeremy or any of the organizers here, this is kind of my thing. We need to be very clear as Democrats living in a fascist, white supremacist society that harms our trans relatives, that harms our indigenous relatives and our black relatives, that throws us in cages here in Oklahoma where we imprison more people than anywhere else in the world, while at the same time we're murdering our land and fracking and stealing all of the resources out from underneath us. We need to make our voices heard. We can no longer let the rest of the nation see us as a flyover state, as disposable people, like they treat this land. So I'm asking everybody here today, I'm calling upon our establishment, we must change our tactics. We must change our strategies. We need to be inclusive of our emerging constituencies. We need to welcome our trans relatives, our Muslim relatives, our undocumented relatives. We need to let them come into our tent. And we can't just talk this game, we have to show this game. We have to go down to Fort Sill when they threaten to put children in cages and let them know that we are going to stand in front of these gates and not let that happen, because fascism is not okay. As Democrats, we do not accept this. We need to go to Senator Inhofe's office. We need to go to Senator Lankford's office. We need to make these representatives uncomfortable in their racism, in their fascism, in their sexism. We need to make them uncomfortable and let them know that this is no longer okay, because now accountability falls on our shoulders. If we do not do better, now that we know better, we are each complicit. But I know Oklahomans care about the people, we care about the land, and we care about future generations. So now now is the time to turn this ship around. We have great new leadership. We have so many wonderful people who've never participated before who are now volunteering, and we have to keep that momentum. We have to get into the communities. We can't just be having meetings. We need to get on the ground where the people are and go to them. So with that, I think that's all I have to say. Niawe Wopila, and thank you so much, Cherokee County. You do such a great job for everything. I think you're a great model for the rest of the state, and I'm really grateful for being invited here tonight. Thank you.